August 21, 2009, and one of the most hyped matches in the NRL. The red-hot Wests Tigers against an even hotter Parramatta Eels with Jarryd Hayne on his famous run. Matty Johns, Greg Alexander. What a clash this was. You've got two teams, not only were they in red-hot form, but they were the most exciting teams in the premiership.
Yeah, look, both played fantastic footy. And you mentioned Jarryd Hayne. Of course, he was on, I think, the best extended run of form that we've ever seen. So Hayne in hot form, as were the West Tigers with Benji Marshall. Tim Moulton, arguably one of their best through that six-game winning streak that they had coming into this match against the Eels. So it's all on the line. They've both kept winning, but they need to keep winning to try and make the eight.
And it's a great matchup because not only are they running hot, but it's the style of football they play. Both these sides play what you'd call principle-based football. They've got a guide for what they want to do, but they're not weighed down by that straitjacket of structure. You know, you'll watch them play a little bit. Parramatta will just roll forward. As soon as they get an offload, they explode. And you'll see the Tigers, you know, Robbie doing these little trick shots, but that's all about just creating time and space for Benji. So it's a great matchup. And
when we bring up the ladder, you'll see not only we've got two teams in red-hot form, but they're not secure of making the finals. Brandy, they're paying the price for a wretched start to the season, and their respective hot streaks, all they've done is put them in the hunt.
Yeah, that's right. The Tigers sit on 26 points, but there's three sides below them in the eight that are also on 26. The Eels are outside, sitting in ninth spot on 25. So it's evident from the ladder that they need to keep winning. One of these sides will progress, and either the Tigers will jump to 28 points and just about secure a final spot. If the Eels win, they go to 27 and jump all those sides sitting above them on 26. So plenty on the line. They both did have very ordinary starts to the season. The Tigers, after 16 rounds, were sitting 15th. And the Eels, after 18 rounds, were sitting 14th. So these runs have put them in a position to play finals footy, but they're not there yet.
So let's go to the Wests Tigers, and they might be fifth, but they need to keep winning. And a lot of familiar names in that lineup.
Yeah, Tim Moulton at the back and has been in terrific form. Tuiaki and Bo Ryan on the wings. Tuiaki has scored 10 tries in their six-game winning streak. Blake Aceford and Chris Lawrence in the centres. The halves are Benji Marshall and Robert Louis. Gibbs and Galloway are the front rowers. Robbie Farah, the captain and hooker. Todd Payton, Gareth Ellis in his first season in the NRL has shown what a quality player he is. And at the back of the scrum, Chris Hyington. On the interchange bench, it's Danny Galea, John Morris, Corey Payne and John Skandalis, and the coach, Tim Sheens.
And Matty Johns, not only are the West Tigers putting together a terrific winning streak, but they're putting up some big scores on the way. They're flogging teams.
Yeah, they're playing really well. I mean, a couple of years ago, they lost Scotty Prince, which is a really big loss. But what you're seeing now with the Tigers is not an over-reliance on Robbie and Benji. Tim Moulton's chipping in with a bit of ball playing. Hines can ball play. Payton, you know, up front, he's a terrific ball player, so they're really in the groove at the moment.
Yeah, the thing that has improved in the Tigers in this six-game run, it has been their go forward. Galloway, Gibbs and Skandalis have been outstanding, so they are laying the platform. And Robert Louis is a very clever footballer as well, so they put their eggs and try and contain Robbie Farah and Benji Marshall. Robert Louis is good enough to create things for the West Tigers, and we already just spoken about Taniela Tuiaki, who's been the best winger this season by a mile, scored 10 tries in 6 games.
Well, and remarkably, 56-10 over the Sharks at Shark Park. Unbelievable. But you talk about all those players for the Tigers, none as important as this man, Benji Marshall, who's back to 2005 touch.
Yeah, he's in great form. And when Benji's running hot, so do the Tigers. As I said before, what you'll see in this game is Robbie doing those little trick shots around the ruck, but it's just all about creating time and space for Benji. And, yeah, the combination with Farah, Marshall and Moulton back on the inside, those little trick shots around the ruck are beauties.
So, yeah, you mentioned the big win against the Sharks last week in round 23. Benji scoring 24 points, 2 tries, kicking 8 goals, and he's been outstanding for them. It will come down to Benji, I think, on the night tonight against the Eels. It'll come down whether Benji can produce enough and outscore the Parramatta side.
And the emergence of Louis and blokes like Moulton has been really important for Benji. Benji, if you try to get Benji and weigh him down with trying to organise at this point in his career, he loses his running game. But when you see him just running and freewheeling, he's on fire.
So they're on a hot streak, as are the Parramatta Eels, and their team has become settled. It's been chopped and changed all year, but this is basically the team that has put them in this position.
Jared Hayne, the most destructive ball runner in the game, and what a run it's been for him. 5 man of the match performances leading into this one. Luke Burt on the wing, Eric Groth also, Kristen Inu and Joel Reddy in the centres. They've settled on their halves. Finally, it's Daniel Mortimer and Jeff Robson. Kalis up front as the skipper, along with Fui Moi Moi, who has been explosive. Keating in at hooker, Nathan Hindmarsh, Ben Smith and Todd Lowry are the back rowers. Joe Nullival, Kevin Kingston, Tim Manor and Feletti Mateo back in. Hasn't played much first grade, but he can produce something. He's a special player. He comes in onto the bench and the coach is Daniel Anderson.
Struggled to make it back after a biceps injury, but finally he gets his chance. And the Eels, they have been doing it very nicely, progressively getting better. Their streak started with a win over the Melbourne Storm on a Monday night. And since then, you see those results there on the screen. The margins have been getting progressively larger.
Well, they're a great footy team with the ball in their hands. And as we see, they beat the Knights 40-8. They beat the Warriors last week 40-4. They've been in some good form and they have settled on their side. This man has been outstanding for them. When you got him in the middle of the field and Jared Hayne running off the back of quick play the balls, they're a hard side to contain. But they've settled on their halves. Robson and Mortimer are now their halves. Remember, Jared Hayne started in the halves. It was Finch and Hayne as the Eels halves for the first month of footy. They have got back to Hayne playing at the back now.
Speaking of Hayne, Matty, the run of games, we know he can be brilliant, but to do it week after week after week, it's incredible.
And I think the thing that's been overlooked in this is, as Brandy said, he started the year at 6. And the defensive responsibilities of playing at 6 have really given him a base of fitness. He's not dropping out the back of games now. This is good. Like, when you see with Jared, when he gets that long first receiver pass and gets him on the edge of the umbrella, they've got to hold back. And he sort of he goes from there. And the style of football that they are playing at the moment really suits Jared. At the start of the year, they're trying to play too structured. Daniel Anderson's a structured coach. When they've settled down and just let their forwards go forward and play off offloads, it's brought him right to the fore.
All right, so the stage is set. A game on a Friday night, which has been so hyped up over the last few days. The Sydney Football Stadium, an unusual venue. It's one of the Wests Tigers' home grounds this season, but they have travelled from the West. Well over 30,000 here. And it's a pretty split crowd as well. Nathan Kalis, the captain of these Parramatta Eels, captain of New Zealand as well. He is ready for a big game. That man, Fui Moi Moi, has been in scintillating form over the past few weeks, and the veteran Nathan Hindmarsh. What about these Wests Tigers? What a string of wins they've put together. Twice they've cracked 50, and here they come. The fireworks go off in the background. They haven't played in the finals since their premiership win in 2005. If they can win tonight, they can go so close to locking up a spot in the finals this year. Blake Ashford, one of the many youngsters in this Tigers outfit. Chris Lawrence, the other centre in this West Tigers team. The nerves for these sides. What a weapon he's been. Taniela Tuiaki. Tries galore. 21 this year. The Wests Tigers. Can they keep this run going? Tony Archer, the main referee. Jared Maxwell, the second ref. And we begin. West Tigers. Parramatta Eels. Oh, it's a short kickoff and Hindmarsh does well. A little trick move there. But Parramatta not panicking. And you see Eric Groth. He's been back to near his best. Fui Moi Moi. picked up and dumped. Galloway with a nice, strong early statement. Matt Keating, the hooker for these Parramatta Eels. Parramatta can't quite get it to halfway.
10 metres.
There's Hayne. He's got it all, including a big boot. And Tim Moulton. He's been superb for the Tigers. He's joining first grade last year, but there's a reception committee.
Daniel! Keep coming. Go.
And now, they drive it forward. Tuiaki,
Hold. Go.
close to the best winger in the game at bringing it back for metres.
Hold, Fui.
Todd Payton, named in the front row but playing in the second row effectively with that man, Keith Galloway, brought into this side. Parramatta have an excellent record over the Tigers of late. They've won 7 of their last 8 as Benji finds the line. But in their one meeting this year, it was the West's Tigers.
Are we going short, mate?
Got the job done 23-6, but that was when both sides were in pretty ordinary form. These are two totally different outfits.
Yeah, both would be happy with their opening sets, and it's something that has improved over the last month and a half for the Tigers. They go forward. Tuiaki with a strong run. Benji would have rather have kept that ball in field. Just came off the side of his foot. With a scrum set on the 20.
Incredible scenes here. A near full house for a Friday night blockbuster. And now Parramatta working it forward through Lowry. Boy. Plenty of Tigers there in his face, including Bryce Gibbs. Early touch for Hayne. Never afraid to take the line on. Now the pass at the line here. Moi again getting his hands on the ball. Discovered by Daniel Anderson over in New Zealand about 7 years ago.
Stay 10, Nathan Kalis.
And now it's Jeff Robson with the kick. He's bisected the winger and fullback. And Bo Ryan down the sideline. He scored 5 tries in his last 3 games. And now Ashford brings it forward.
Hold. Go.
You know one thing, these sides have got plenty of points in them. So far, a pretty steady start. Farah. Gareth Ellis. And there's the first penalty of the night. High tackle. Ben Smith, the man who's been pinged. And the Tigers, they just needed a little bit of a boost and they get one there.
I love this, Dan. This is, the Tigers love the set starts. It's right up Shoons' alley. There's little trick plays they like to put on.
Superb addition to this West Tigers team. Gareth Ellis, the Super League champ from Leeds, a couple of times over. He's been terrific in his first year of NRL. So they're inside Parramatta territory, the Tigers. There is that man, Ellis.
Hold 3. Fui. Go. Stay in the ruck.
Benji. At the line to Galloway.
4. Move.
Lowry and Keating there with the tackle.
Not there, Fui.
Farah harassed by his opposite number in Keating, and that gets the Tigers to the last tackle. And it's Marshall. Oh, that doesn't quite come off the centre of the boot. That's a very wayward kick from Benji. Maybe a touch of nerves given the atmosphere here at the footy stadium.
Well, they recovered well. Robbie Farah caught on the 4th, but they still had Benji Marshall in position to put that kick up. That shows you the strength of the breeze. The flags blowing horizontally at the Sydney Football Stadium. Poor kick from Benji Marshall, resulting in the Eels getting the footy on the 20.
Here comes Hindmarsh. Game 255.
Off tight.
Inside 40.
Keating from inside the 40. Won't be a 40-20, but it's a very effective kick. As Tuiaki looks to run it towards the centre. Nice line of Parramatta defence.
Hold, Nate. Hold.
Yeah, mate.
Don't go into it, Bryce.
The young man from Wollongong, Tim Moulton, just 20 years of age. And now Bryce Gibbs running into 3 defenders, the man who made his debut in 2003. So for 2 sides that can show plenty of flair, it's been pretty steady in these opening moments. Lawrence playing it on the last. Here's Benji, the little chip kick. Not quite off the centre of the boot, but they've kept it alive. Now it's Farah down the sideline. Keeps it going to Aceford. The tackle count appears to have been refreshed. No. Tony Archer says there was no Parramatta hand in that contested kick. And Parramatta come up with it.
I was just looking at Highmarsh. Geez, he does some work. I'll tell you something you don't know about him. I reckon there's a funny man in Nathan Highmarsh somewhere. If you team up with someone like, say, Brian Fletcher, I reckon he could have a future in TV.
I'm sure people have thought of that as a combination. How does your mind go to those places?
I don't know.
Robson with the pass here to Hayne. Little loose in this set, Parramatta. You've still got it though. Mortimer. Now here's Kristen Inu. He can be dangerous as well. Kalis. Oh, big tackle. As the halfback Robson rocked off his feet. Hayne no. A dynamic pass to Growth, but he can't hang on to it. And Marshall comes away with it here for the Tigers.
Jared Hayne's first real impact as we see the shot from Chris Lawrence on Jeff Robson. And Robson thanking Nathan Kalis for that pass. And then Hayne jumped up, got involved in the next play, but Eric Growth wasn't able to handle the ball. You can see both teams know what's on line. Even though they're both 6 and 5 coming into this game, they're on winning streaks. They know that a loss here tonight just could cost them a spot.
Let's see if the Tigers get their last tackle options right. They've been a bit scratchy to start the game.
So they're inside Parramatta territory here with some tackles up their sleeve. Moulton a dummy half. Now Todd Payton, the veteran. He's been at Canberra. He's been at the Roosters. And they're at the 20. Marshall to Farrell at second receiver. So he'll do the kicking this time. And that just drifts into the in goal. That breeze again. Hurting the West's Tigers. Nice catch from Hayne.
Yeah, well, Matty just mentioned that the 5th tackle plays from the Tigers, and they haven't been up to scratch. Another one, a turnover on the 20 to the Parramatta Eels. Benji's 3 kicks have all come off the side of his foot. Robbie Farah just put that one a bit deep and just relieves any sort of pressure.
Sometimes with the Tigers, I reckon, Brandy, they throw so much energy into their attack and they play a little bit of sideline to sideline. They don't think about their last tackle options until it is the last tackle. A lot of times that can be too late.
Yeah, it doesn't help if it's an afterthought. They need to prepare and get themselves in a position to be better on play 5.
One of the things about Parramatta's streak is Keating zips down the middle, now gets it onto Robson, onto Moy. Boy, he's been busy early. Get back to that point in a moment, but Parramatta now rolling with a couple of tackles left. Robson, again, Lawrence. He's got a target on Robson. Hayne. He throws it on to Reddy. Reddy somehow gets rid of it. Keating hurries the kick. And this time it's Parramatta not making the most of it on the last as Moulton brings it back.
Yeah, just watch Jared Hayne. When Fui Moy gets the ball and breaks a tackle, Hayne knows exactly that that's the time for him to get the footy.
It's funny watching him play, Brandy. Like Daniel Mortimer is essentially, he's a runner of the football. You know, his style of football is a ducker and a weaver. And you're seeing Hayne really is their primary first receiver.
He's got a roaming licence, hasn't he? Here's Marshall sending it on. And Payton.
Last one, Daniel!
Over halfway.
Of course, you right?
Yeah, mate, yep.
Go.
Oh, Louis' pass is wild. Now, Marshall sets himself and goes the midfield bomb. It won't be the easiest one to catch. In fact, it's allowed to bounce, and Growth
Inside the 10.
gets a friendly bounce.
Inside the 10.
And a great result for Parramatta.
Well, the Robert Louis pass went that deep that the whole side was in front of Benji by the time he put the kick up. He recovered and had plenty of time. But again, Matty, just not the thing they wanted on play 5.
Yeah, it's been a terrible start as far as their kicking game's concerned. They're really lucky that Parramatta haven't been able to take advantage of it.
You can see these players are edgy. Back to that point from earlier, Parramatta, they've racked up some huge scores, averaged 31 the last 5 games, but they've only conceded 4 tries in their last 4 games. It's been an underrated aspect of their run. But now they're on the attack. As it comes out here to Robson, slips under the tackle of Payton, comes to Lowry, loses it. And Parramatta butcher some terrific field position. And now look at the Tigers up and about.
Well, you're right. The Eels just not able to take advantage of what the Tigers aren't doing, and that's playing field position. Coughing the ball up there, Todd Lowry. After there was half a chance on their left side, the coaching staff of the Tigers, Roy Simmons and Tim Sheens. He ducks inside Galloway Robson, gets it to Lowry, and then just drops the ball cold.
Been in good form, Lowry. People like Ben Smith, Toddy Lowry, Jeff Robson, Daniel Mortimer, career best form.
A team that looks so different to the start of the season. So many chops and changes for Parramatta. Robson, very much a journeyman coming into this season. He'd only played 6 first-grade games. He debuted back in 2004, and here he is starring.
Playing terrific.
Here's Galloway. Started his career at the Sharks.
Yeah, Highmarsh in there again. I mean, it's a flop, but still it counts.
Now, the Tigers pounded over halfway. Hyington, Marshall with the inside pass. Well read by Hindmarsh.
Well, it's a play that's worked for the Tigers over the last month and a bit, but well read.
Marshall, again, the wind is going to push that back, but this time it's well weighted. Hayne.
Jeez.
Oh, he runs over the top of Farah.
Jeez, he's playing tough, Jared Hayne.
The clean-up work from Gareth Ellis was essential there. But a little bit of momentum here for Parramatta as the game awaits its first major moment.
That's the thing about Hayne during this brilliant run. You think about, you know, his class and his speed and his athleticism, but it's his toughness as well. Willing to take a shot.
He's already pretty much done it all in the game. He's 21, Hayne. New South Wales, Australia. He's rocketing up the Dally M points. He may be a Dally M medalist by the end of the year.
I'll make a statement. I reckon he'll get it.
Yeah. Plenty of football to be played.
I'll tell you another thing, right? And Brandy, just trust me on this. I saw the early Melbourne Cup field. There's a horse called Shocking. Put your house on it. I'm telling you.
With the Tigers, with Bryce Gibbs now. Enjoying some good field position. So, look to get it over halfway here. Here's Marshall. Fighting open space. But now Hayne, this is what he likes. And again, the Tigers up to the challenge.
Well, the last 2 kicks from the Tigers have been their best. Benji finding the grass and Robbie putting one up earlier.
Oh, there's Inu. Shrugging away from one, bumping off a second, then getting an offload. This is good. Robson with footwork.
He's a talent, Kristen Inu.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how to beat a defender.
Now Ben Smith.
3. Move, Chris.
And Corindai boy. The tackles left here for Parramatta. Joel Reddy. A recent survey in the game suggested he was the most underrated player in the NRL. Parramatta spread it. Shaky pass from Mortimer. And the Tigers continue to put themselves in the faces of Parramatta, and it's paying dividends.
And Daniel Anderson, if you look, if you're disappointed, that's not Daniel Mortimer's game. Now, using that sort of finesse, looking in and playing out, that's a playmaker's play. Daniel's a runner.
He's a runner and a supporter, isn't he, Matt?
He is.
He's not a ball player, and I think it was an example there of he just wasn't sure when or if he should have thrown that pass.
Well, now, is this where we
That's right.
see the Tigers impose themselves with their attack?
Hold one, Nathan!
Fooey.
Hold! Go.
So the West Tigers here
Two, Daniel!
haven't really thrown a hell of a lot at Parramatta with the ball. Just warming into this contest.
Nathan!
Louis. Now on the Marshall. Cuts out one. Through the hands it goes. Tuiaki. Well stopped. Robson. A nice tackle. Now against the groin goes Galloway. The flick pass. Benji sends it on. And Louis in his second game.
Held, last one!
The 19-year-old wrapped up
Go!
inside the 10. Farah from dummy half. Great cover there. And Parramatta, through the veteran Luke Burt, survived.
What a pick up there. It was Jeff Robson, the halfback, that scooped it up and was able to get into the field of play. Clever kick, and really the first try-scoring opportunity for either side. It's a game that's been played between the 20s. But the first real set on the Parramatta line, and Robson saves the day with a great pickup.
Nice kick from Farah too. The more Farah kicks, the better the Tigers go. He's the best short kicker in their football side.
So still we wait for our first points. Oh, Hydemarsh gets through Galloway.
Look at him go.
The ageless wonder. And now Molson with the catch on the 20. Tuiaki.
Hold one, Joel!
Uh-oh. Tuiaki goes down. Molson shows his concern.
Time off, mate, he's injured.
What is it, a knee, an ankle?
He's injured, mate.
He's in trouble.
Oh dear. Well, this man has been an unstoppable force in 2009. Oh, he's in a world of pain.
Well, he's been the best winger in the NRL this year, I think. And we've spoken about his run of tries in the last 6 weeks, 10 of them, a couple of hat tricks.
Yeah, all right.
Just,
You keep the set, okay?
Oh dear.
Ben Smith landed on his lower leg there with the ankle twisted.
Tackle one, mate.
That's a lot of weight.
Huge loss, Brandy. Not just on his try scoring, 21 tries in 21 games, but his go forward. He's one of their best go forward men.
Well, the power from the back and the starts to their set when they're coming out of their own end, he's the key to it.
Oh, that is a cruel thing to watch.
Nathan!
No fault of the Parramatta
Tackle one,
players.
mate. Tackle one.
And we resume after Tuiaki taken off the field.
Hold! Go!
And let's just wish him nothing but the best. So there's a bit of a hush now over the football stadium after that that moment. The Tigers back inside Parramatta territory. They've enjoyed the better of the field position of late. Marshall chiming in at dummy half. As Molson finds a flat-footed Hyington. Then the flick for Molson. Now Lawrence.
Move!
It's a game of chess at the moment. And just a straight, hard run here.
Hold! Go! Chris! What's that there?
Marshall
Yeah, got it, mate.
took his time putting boot the ball. But it's a contest and Ryan gets there first, but
Change over.
can't hang on.
And Dan, we've spoken a lot about both sides' attack, and that's the strength of both sides. But when you're going good, your defence has got to be right. And both sides are giving
Where you go, mate?
each other a lot of opportunity, but
Six again, 6 again.
the defence has been the most outstanding part of both teams' games. He's
they've
more
lost
errors.
it. Burt's put it down. He just held it out in front of him. And now the Tigers are full set inside Parramatta's 20. Marshall, the dummy. Marshall, around the back, out Outrageous! Ashford scores, but Marshall throws an extraordinary pass. The magician has come up with an incredible moment.
Well, he's renowned for his flick passes, Benji Marshall, but I don't think I've ever seen one that's travelled the distance that ball just did. It wasn't a flick pass to someone coming in tight. He flicked it behind his back. It had to travel the distance of a normal pass. Has 4 or 5 metres. The control over that, out to Ashford, who goes into the corner, beats Growth across the try line. What a ball, but what a move he put on to create the space for himself to throw that flick pass out of nothing.
Brandy, just purely instinctive pass born out of touch football, which he played a lot of touch football growing up in New Zealand bench. And Robbie Farah came across. Hear Robbie on the audio go, that's the best thing I've ever seen. Well, it's in the grand final, isn't it?
Well, of course, and there's the Luke Burt error. Off the back of a Tigers error, Burt failed to take advantage, but they said the advantage was taken, so it was a turnover back to the Tigers. And then watch this player here. Stops, dummy, inside, just leaves the defender standing. That was Jeff Robson. And then the flick pass, well, it's not the 2005 flick pass. It's not a grand final, but it's almost as important as a grand final. That play there left Robson clutching at nothing. And then the length to throw a flick pass and control it over that distance is quite incredible.
Remember 2005, Brandy? It wasn't until the replays that I saw how he threw that pass to Paddy Richards. A bit like that, if you blink, you miss it.
So Marshall, can he convert the try he set up? Not a bad looking kick, but just a little too much hook. But what a moment here at the football stadium. Tigers on the board first.
Well, the flick was incredible, but the dummy on the inside and then to leave Robson stranded as he did was almost as good as the flick.
That's all he needs, isn't it? Bit of time and space, Benji, and his instincts just take over.
Last week, he scored 2 tries against the Sharks, had a try assist. He's been in red hot form.
Nathan!
There it is from behind. It looks even better.
He has hit Ashford right in the centre. A perfect ball.
Scandalis on for the Tigers. John Morris was the player that replaced Taniela Tuiaki. He's out in the right wing.
Scandalis, the last surviving of these West Tigers from the original team. Lawrence into the backfield, 3-on-1. Now the pass for Ashford. Oh, what a tackle from Hayne. Ashford almost had 2 in 2 minutes. Now in the last, Farah, long pass, Marshall, trouble, Marshall to the winger, yes! Rides over! The Tigers go bang, bang! But Jared Maxwell wants to see if the put down was legal.
Well, Bo Ryan's down injured. They don't want another winger off the field. Tuiaki's already left. What a play down the short side to get them in that position. Moulton, Ashford and Chris Lawrence all involved. And then does Bo Ryan get the ball down in time?
Oh.
Did his foot touch the line?
Oh, you sense
I think it did.
touched some chalk.
I think it did.
Bo knows where the sideline is.
He gets the ball down pretty quickly. I'm not convinced that he's out before he gets the ball down.
It's going to be a...
Is there a blade of grass between the line and his foot?
a horror decision for the video ref to make, because it's a genuine 50-50. Ryan's paid the price. They've already lost one winger.
Chris Naninu, the Parramatta player. Terrific run from Benji. Gets on the outside of Mortimer. Bo's got to get the ball down fast.
Well, that angle's not going to help us. The longer this goes on, the more you sense I'll give this.
I just think that shove from Inu was just pushed that right boot onto the white chalk just before he gets it down.
Oh dear, He's in a bad way there, Bo. Here we go. Benefit of the doubt. The Tigers. 2 tries in quick succession.
Well, that's all that counts, what the video referee thinks, and Ryan has done an exceptional job to stay in the field of play long enough to get that football down.
One of the trademarks of the Tigers when they won the comp in 2005, Brandy, is the ability to play from sideline to sideline. We just saw it then. You know, pushing that ball across at the field, getting Benji into a little bit of space, players dropping under him, lets him get across the field. It's really good to watch.
Well, this is encouraging. He's walking back to his mark, Ryan, and they need him to stay. They've already lost Tuiaki. They can't afford to go down to 15 this early.
No, not with 2 wingers off the field would cause some problems. Lawrence has joined up with Ashford down this left-hand side, and it's Morrison and Bo Ryan out on the right as Benji just slides this one across the face of the uprights.
Such a hard night to kick with that breeze which swirls about here in the football stadium. But the Tigers 8, Parramatta nothing.
Here's Moulton down the short side with Lawrence. Showing the ball, Lawrence did well and had Moulton back on the inside, goes to the outside in Ashford, and you're right, Haynes saves a try in that situation. It was a one-on-one stop, and then the quick shift out to Benji. Benji was centre field and went directly towards the corner post, and he just created enough space for Ryan.
You're in an unfamiliar spot here, Parramatta. Last week 40-4, the week before 40-8, the week before 30-0. They're not used to being behind on the scoreboard.
Surrender! Stand! Hold! Go!
See the Tigers, 2/3 of the ball. But you know Parramatta
Release!
can put points on quickly. Oh, that's a bad play, the ball. And there's the turnaround Parramatta craved. Unforced error from Hyington.
Well, was that the pocket referee that made that call? Of course, you know, this year, the first year for 2 referees. Had people jumping up and down about it.
What do you think, Brandy? Is it here to stay? I think it'll be at least for the next 10 years.
I don't mind it, man. I don't mind it.
Bind in. Head and go. Over this side, mate.
Well, there's been that much talk about the grapple tackle and the chicken wing.
Well, that's right, the rolling pin.
I think we just needed someone else at the ruck to control that.
You don't sound convinced, Matty.
I know what I think. I think it'll still be here until about 2020. Then after that, who knows?
So Parramatta, let's see what they've got in attack. Oh, a subtle pass for Ben Smith. Up to the 10. Midway through the count. Hayne. The right foot step. He's finally stopped here. Scandalis. Some good work in defence, along with 2 others. As Parramatta now send it left. Robson. Hindmarsh.
God, he's having a game. Hindmarsh.
Ellis, though, all over him.
Go.
Here we go, the last. Robson. Oh, the pass doesn't quite find the mark. And the Tigers come away with it.
Well, their first real chance, their first attacking chance of the game, and they spent the full set down there, and that is where Robson can be very dangerous. All of a sudden, you take your eyes off Jeff Robson. He can throw a dummy and slice through, and almost did on that occasion. The Tigers did well to hang on, though, and still lead 8-0.
Just getting through their set here. The Tigers, Hyington. Now Marshall. It was a couple of ordinary kicks to start the game. He got that one over. Hayne at full pace but handled. But look where Parramatta are, near halfway. And now Eric Growth.
Starting to roll forward now.
And this will help things for Parramatta. They can just get a little closer.
Well, they needed to change the momentum. It had been with the Tigers, back-to-back tries, 8-0, and a lack of possession has hurt the Eels in the first half.
It comes from right to left. There's Joe Nullivow coming off the bench, put down. Now Lowry.
Move. Hard. Go.
A bit of a spark about Parramatta here. It comes across and ready. Hasn't seen much of it so far tonight.
Move. Gareth. Hard. Go.
Keating sending it on to young Tim Manor.
Move.
First season of first grade.
Hard. Go.
Keating. Now Robson with the dummy.
Held. 5.
Tigers not yielding.
Go.
Keating on the last. Tries to thread the needle. Tigers come up with it and stay in the field of play.
It's interesting, Dan. Daniel Anderson yet to use Fletty Mateo. And as I said before, the Eels, their best football comes off offloads, and he's their best offloader.
3. Move. 4. Move.
He hasn't played in 3 months. It'll be interesting how much time Anderson thinks he can squeeze out of him.
Hold. Hold. Go.
Yet to see him so far. Oh, Farah, that's off the side of the boot.
Right in, mate.
The pressure from the markers paying dividends. Parramatta again get to impose some attack.
Well, it had been 25 minutes and the Eels now have had back-to-back sets on the Tigers line. And that kick from Robbie Farah, well read from the markers. They knew he was jumping down that short side. Gives the Eels their third set in a row now on the Tigers' try line.
Not sure we saw Kane in the previous set. Let's see if he gets his hands on it. So it comes out now and a chance. Inu to Burt, down the sideline, then the left foot step. The Eels hit back. So simple, so clinical. Now another winger has gone down.
Well, someone dropped their knees into Luke Burt. I'm not sure which Tigers player it was, just as he was putting the football down.
I'm thinking the worst here, Arch.
Let's have a look. It was Bryce Gibbs coming across.
Sounds like,
well, he's coming with the knee. That's.
And you heard the referees, they've got 8-point try in their minds.
Well, if it occurs during the try-scoring moment, well, it will be an 8-point try. I've got no doubt that Bryce Gibbs has come in now that the video referee's had a look at it. Slides in with his knees first. I don't think they'll have to think too hard about this. It was a beautiful piece of play from Kristen Inu to create the space for Luke Burt. And it's a high price to pay for Robbie Farah. The kick out in the full just gave the Eels another crack at their line, and they've been able to open them up.
So obviously a try. It's what comes after this. Will be interesting.
Possible. He's got a kick, hasn't he?
And it does appear as though we're going to have 2 kicks at goal here.
Okay, and he's going in for the tackle on the play on the ground. It's going to be a possible 8-point try. It's on report. We have a penalty after the kick.
Remarkably, we might be all tied up in a few moments.
In front of the stakes. You get a penalty after the sticks.
Nice Gibbs
They're lining up. You go, horse.
on report as well.
Matty, nice piece of play here. Good ball, but Inu, just the footwork and to get on the outside. I think it was John Morris playing in the centres.
Yeah.
That failed to stop Inu.
Tell you, it was a really nice line from Todd Lowry. He ran the straight line that drew Johnny Morris in. And you saw early in the game, the first 25 minutes, the defence was really tight from both sides, but now it's just starting to loosen up. Smile. Wait for the smile.
There it is.
Gorgeous.
And he has kicked it. Now the penalty goal from in front. It'll be 8-all. How quickly a game can turn. The Tigers have already lost to Iaki. Bo Ryan is struggling.
Tough night for the wingers.
He might have a fair bit of bruising come tomorrow morning, but he'll be okay, you would imagine. And the Parramatta fans on their feet.
Last 10 minutes here, Arch.
Okay.
This game is starting to warm up. Third year of first grade for this man. Gee, hit the ground running. He debuted for New Zealand in that first year, 2007. But he was dropped earlier this season from the Parramatta team. But he's back. And Parramatta have levelled things up at the footy stadium. What scenes here at the SFS.
Let's stay behind.
Well, it's a great crowd in. You said at kick-off, Dan, that there might have been 30 plus. I'm sure that there's probably almost 35 here.
It's a great stadium. It'll be there forever. Trust me.
Hold one, move. Hold. Hold. Go.
But Nullavow brings it back.
Turn, move. Hold.
And now Todd Lowry. The Tigers trying to rush up in defence here. Parramatta sticking to that left side, where they just had some success. In and away.
Four, Bryce. Stand up. Four. Stay 10,
Hayne kicks before the last. And he tucks it in behind Blake Ashford. Oh, big tackle from Reddy.
See, that's the perfect set off the back of points. Some good runs. Kristen Inu's charged, gaining in 15 metres, and then Hayne just drops one into the in-goal area.
Oh,
and then
went down like he was on roller skates.
Yeah, drops the shoulder into Blake Ashford. Kick chase from Hayne. They've got the Tigers under pressure.
And that sort of energy from Jared Hayne, it's not his trademark. Certainly wasn't at the start of the season. Just shows his fitness levels.
This is a big, big moment for the Tigers. They needed a break.
You work the arm over, mate. There, go.
Oh, Marshall takes the tap, and he's away. He's done this before. He gets an offload on here. Corey Payne over halfway. Then the pass on the inside to Morris.
Yeah.
But it's forward.
Watch it, watch it, watch it.
Forward pass.
Well, Benji almost sets up a Tigers try. Oh, hello. This is big. Hayne.
He's caught plenty of sides in this sort of position with their pants down. Quick tap, gets the pass away. How well does Corey Payne do here? Pushing away from Eels defenders. It was a short pass. Big collision there involving Hayne and Morris. Huge.
Just the tempo, Brandy, of the Tigers play. Like sometimes, you know, they resemble a sort of train with no brakes. They go that quick, and that leads to errors, but just exciting. Very difficult to defend.
So Hayne paying the price for throwing out that shoulder. And he's back on his feet. Just 6 minutes remain in this first half.
Hold.
2 tries to 1.
Go, move. Hold.
This Tigers
Hold.
dominating the first 20 minutes or so.
3. Gareth.
Dallas.
Hold.
Galavau's been good since on the field.
Penrith premiership winner, of course.
4.
Robbie.
He's off to Manly next year.
Hold 4.
Oh, Mortimer going in at dummy half, and Lowry taken. All in all by Danny Galea. Again, the kick finding the surface here. And Ashford has nowhere to go. There's no doubt Parramatta are the better team at the moment with those last tackle options.
Stand, hold. You shortened it. 2. 3. Move.
Down.
Hold. Go. Surrender.
Surrender, Tom.
4. Surrender. Go.
Now Farrow. Oh, this is a
Not
cute
quite
little
on the mark.
kick. Coming through is Marshall, but he doesn't get the bounce.
Hold 1.
Gee, that's a big play, isn't it? When you've been
Big
under
play.
the pump and you chip on your own half. Benji Marshall, obviously a planned move. Here he goes.
That's the thing about the Tigers. They're not afraid to take risks, but when they don't come off, you got to defend them. That's the test for them now.
Now the forced offload from Nullavow. Dragged in by Kingston.
On marker.
The ref's comfortable that wasn't a knock on. Parramatta work it down. The right side was Smith. Now Growth runs over the top. It looked like Benji. He just gets back up. On the last, it'll be Robson to put up a high ball. Pretty well weighted, but just drifting into that in-goal area. As now Moulton cops a bump.
And I reckon, Brandy, Tim Sheens, who you know very well, your old coach, he'd be sort of looking for the Tigers just to sort of settle down a little bit. It's one of the great things about, their strength can be their disadvantage sometimes in the fact that they play such a fast tempo, they lack a bit of control.
Well, we noticed that at the start of the opening 20 minutes, Matt. They just didn't get their fifth tackle plays right. They've got to do that. And he won't be happy, but he does allow them to continue to play footy. He knows that their strength is their ability to break open defensive lines. So he can't lasso that. He's got to let that happen.
Morris, lovely dart out of dummy half.
Chris!
It's okay.
Sloppy at dummy half. Kingston with the tackle. Farah gets up. Marshall. Louis. That's off Parramatta.
6 again.
And the Tigers,
There's an opportunity.
they can start again. I've seen so little ball near Parramatta's try line in the last 13 or 14 minutes.
Held one.
And there's Payne. Made that line break earlier. Gibbs. Will feel he owes his team after giving away that 8-point try. Scandalis. Game 2:43. Benji looks for the corner. Was also looking for a tricky bounce.
Held one, Marcus Square.
And it just sat kindly for Burt, who still doesn't look right after copping that knee in the buttock region.
Yeah, he's going to struggle through the second half, Luke Burt, but they won't want to take him off.
Gareth!
Machines. So much premiership success. Parramatta didn't go too far in this set. A couple of tackles left though. Nice little dart from Kingston. And now Hayne, a 40-20, and out of nowhere, Parramatta are going to have a shot right on half-time.
Well, he just knows when to inject himself, Jared Hayne. A quick play the ball. He knew that he was on the run. He kicks it inside the 40, just absolutely drilled the football. And he will give his side a shot. Just see where he came from to get that footy at first receiver. That's where he does his damage, at first receiver, off the back of quick play the balls, whether it's a run or a kick or setting someone up.
The heat on that kick.
That's what we were talking before at the start of the year, Dan.
Stay in the scrum.
That start of the season, although he struggled a little bit at 6, he's got his fitness up and got him playing more first receiver. And he's become a better player and certainly a better playmaker from that time at the start of the year.
Is this his time? Really well contained so far.
Well, he's a fullback with extraordinary talent, but he plays with the mind of a halfback.
And he packs in that scrum. Parramatta. A full set just before the break. Here he is, Hayne. Sends it on here to Mortimer. And now Inu. Mortimer. Lowry. 30 seconds remain. Kingston. Robson. Hindmarsh. Haven't thrown too much at the Tigers yet. Kingston. Well, now they're down to a couple of tackles. And Hayne hasn't seen it. Extravagant pass. And Inu is smashed in the tackle. And now Louis away. Burt chases. What an end of the first half. And finally the defence converges. And they'll be most disappointed with that set, Parramatta. But aren't we poised? It's a heavyweight battle. And the two combatants are just jabbing at the moment. It's 8 points all. West Tigers, Parramatta Eels. Fox League Classics live. Sit back and enjoy this over and over. You could watch it all night, couldn't you? Benji Marshall adding to his endless collection of highlights. We've had the flick pass, now the around the back pass. And that has set this game alight. Like Ace for the beneficiary there. And that was all Benji Marshall. 8 points all. Fox League Classics live. West Tigers and Parramatta. Two teams in peak form and two teams that desperately need the win. Matt Johns, Greg Alexander. It has been like an old-fashioned heavyweight fight. The Tigers were on top first. Parramatta hit back, but
yeah. Well, I think the tail
stage.
It is. I think the tail of the tape when you look at that first half, the Tigers' football is brilliant, but at the moment it lacks control. Where Parramatta started a little bit like that, but they've sort of been more willing to knuckle down into the power game. I think the Tigers, when they play their best football, is when Farah is the focal point of their attack, and they find Marshall once the momentum kicks in.
Yeah, they sort of look for, well, Robbie looks for Benji. If ever there's any sort of momentum for the Tigers, you will see Robbie Farah look for Benji Marshall to take advantage of that. Likewise, the Parramatta Eels, whenever they get a bit of momentum, it's Jared Hayne that bobs up at first receiver. That first half took 20 minutes for either side to have a genuine try-scoring opportunity, but what a piece of work this was from Benji Marshall. Reddy got a great piece of him, so he was almost starting again, but the move that he put on Jeff Robson to show the ball on the inside, just watch how he leaves Robson stranded. But to get the accuracy, Matty, the accuracy of a flick pass that travelled 5 metres horizontally is incredible.
And Sheens would have said, Benji, you know, did you know what you're doing? This is just pure instinct. You know, of course you don't coach that. As I said before, that's an instinctive pass born out of touch football.
And it's what you were saying. It's a fine line with the Tigers. And I'm sure Tim Sheens at halftime is saying, boys, look, their natural brilliance, you don't want to curtail that, but they have to do things better in between all of that brilliance.
Just that extra force pass, Brandy, and not enough thought into their kicks, particularly in the first 20 minutes.
Look, and it was, you know, it was billed as Benji versus Jared Hayne. I think Benji, with that play, gets the points over Hayne in the first half. But Hayne, a couple of times, has looked particularly dangerous. Here's Farah looking for Benji Marshall. They made a break down the left-hand side. Benji centre field. Robbie throws a 30-metre pass to him. Yep. Benji heads for the corner post and just gets Bo Ryan into the corner.
And the key to that try was Farah slipping up a short side, play nice and direct. They stripped them short of numbers, put a dent in them, then find Marshall on the long side. Too often, I think the Tigers, you know, their go-to all the time is, you know, Benji ball. Get the ball to Benji. Get the ball to Benji when there's opportunity.
And you're right, Parramatta did work, and it took them a long time to have any sort of field position, but this was on the back of 3 sets, really pressuring the Tigers' try line. A long ball out there to Chris Naninu, who put some footwork on John Morris, who's coming to the centres. Don't forget, the Tigers have lost Tuiaki in the first half, which has left them battling to fill the spots. It was an 8-point try after Bryce Gibbs was ruled to have slid into Luke Burt in the try-scoring motion. He did.
So, Daniel Anderson, seemingly reasonably calm.
Well, they know what's on the line. The winner here can just about assure themselves of the semi-final spot.
It's pretty much all on the line. It's a finals-type atmosphere. And we'll have the second half right after this. Fox League Classics live. Welcome back, round 24, 2009. Neither of these sides used to close contests at half-time of late. Well, they've got a close one here. And Jared Hayne gets us underway. 40 minutes to play. And it's the West Tigers running into the breeze in this second half. There's the Iron Man, Ellis.
Go!
Hold.
Oh, a heavy tackle here as Marshall.
Go. Hold, Todd.
He's hit hard by Kingston. And now it's Payton, harassed
Ball.
by
Move.
Kingston and primarily Hindmarsh. Front on tackle there from the Parramatta number 14. So here's Hayne.
Hold one. Move.
No real highlight moments, certainly nothing like Benji's around the back pass in the first half, but that 40-20 just before the break would suggest that he's
Hold,
into this
John,
game
hold.
up to his eyeballs.
3. Corey.
Todd!
Tigers down to 16.
Go.
There's now Joe Nullavow. That's a good, strong run, a good way for Parramatta, who almost end this set. They've still got a couple of tackles left here. Hayne.
Last one, Gareth. Go.
Now we get to the last. Stab kick towards the middle. And comfortably taken here by Molson, who's looked good tonight, as he has all season.
Hold.
Todd, square!
Hold.
You gotta get quicker, Todd.
2.
Move!
It continues to be a hush
Not
over the
there,
football
10.
stadium. Getting word, 34,000 here. Incredible crowd.
3. Move.
Well, shift out of their own end just gives the Tigers some good metres and gets them out of their own end. Bryce Gibbs
4. Move.
and John Scandalis it is to centre field.
Haven't played the finals, the Tigers, since 2005. They could just about lock away a spot if they win tonight.
Bryce, stay
There's
10.
Marshall
Bryce.
finding some open space. And Growth has to hurry back. He doesn't look 100% either, does he? Now he reaches down for a lower leg. And he gets up, he's fine.
2.
And Jared Hayne, last week, 4 try assists against the Warriors, 241 metres. The week before, 2 try assists. The week before, 2 tries.
Hold, mate. Go.
So far kept reasonably quiet. That's Tim Manor bending the defensive line back. Now that's going to be a penalty. And now Parramatta can press.
Well played by Kevin Kingston. Todd Payton, Bryce Gibbs on the ground, just couldn't get up. Kingston played it well. Tim Manor after a good run.
Here, boss. Here we are.
First year at the Eels for Kingston. Spent 4 years at the Sharks, of course.
Hold, mate. Hold, mate.
Like it's not cheating.
And Parramatta start on the 40.
Hold one. Move.
There's Kingston at dummy half. Lowry.
2. Denny. Hold. Hold. Go.
When will they fire their shot here, Parramatta? Mortimer. Inside the Manor.
3. Robbie.
Tigers defenders hanging on there.
Hold.
Galea
Go.
with Farah. Kingston. They've marched it up close to the 20 here, Parramatta. There's the number 1. Hindmarsh. Now back to the middle. Here's Hayne. In the flick pass. Almost there, the Eels.
Last one. Shot.
Ball played by Mortimer. Hayne. Extravagant pass. Oh, yes, they must score. Inu gets it down. Hayne throws a wonderful cutout. And Inu, too strong. Parramatta on top for the first time tonight.
Yeah, great footwork there from Kristen Inu. It was his footwork that supplied Luke Bird a try in the first half, but the ball from Hayne was an absolute beauty. Down the centre of the field, Kevin Kingston combining along with Hayne. The flick pass almost resulted in a Parramatta try, and then Hayne at first receiver, where He does all his damage, throws a long one out to Inu, and the footwork to get on the outside of the fast approaching Tigers defence, special from Kristen Inu.
Yeah, nice little play through the middle with Hayne and Mortimer. That's what shortened the Tigers up. When you penetrate a defence, it shortens, and that ball from Hayne, as Brandy said, they just gripped it and ripped it.
Can't keep him out of the game.
Classy from Inu too.
He's a talent. He really is, Kristen Inu. The footwork, the evasive skills that he has, a man his size, very light on his feet.
Shifting the ball, Brandy, like had it in his hand, shift it the other way, get rid of the defender, put it down one hand.
He would be a nightmare to defend against.
We know he can kick him from pretty much anywhere.
Keep working that second marker. Keep working that second marker.
It's coming back, back.
Wow. Bit of Irish swing.
The smiling assassin puts Parramatta on top. 14 points to 8.
Yeah, that breeze is pushing across from the west. So Kristen Inu just struck that beautifully. Just outside the left-hand upright and allowed the wind to bring it back. What a start. There's Fletty Mateo.
Not a bad weapon, Brandy.
Well, and Daniel Anderson loves him. He hasn't played football for 3 months. Straight back into the 17.
I didn't know that. Don't know where I was hiding. Under a rock or something, who knows?
So Parramatta starting off this second half brilliantly. Larry hit hard by Scandalis. Hindmarsh.
Robbie, straight.
Already into double digits with the amount of runs he's had. Hayne, he couldn't do it again, could he? This time not quite enough angle, but it's... Oh, hang on! It almost did cross the sideline. Just cut off by Molson.
Geez, you can generate some power on those kicks.
Can't he kick the ball? Like that split both Morris and Molson, and it did look like there was a chance, but got awfully close.
They were.
Molson, in the end, was tippy-toeing on the sideline there to stop it going out. That would have been some 40-20.
They were almost nonchalant. They seemed to have that covered the whole way. Tigers on their heels. Farah. Now the pass for Payne. Need some time at the Dragons, Corey. He's going to Canterbury next year. Well, the Tigers on the last decide to give it a little bit of air, and they've handed Parramatta back the ball near halfway.
It nearly worked. It nearly worked. The dummy kick from Benji Marshall, but that's the sort of risks that the Tigers take. They're on halfway. Benji decides to dummy kick and then go down the sideline. It was Danny Galea that was caught with the ball after they created the overlap. What sort of price will they pay for not playing field position footy?
They're fifth, the Tigers, but they could be out of the 8 by the end of the weekend. Moi. And the splashes off Scandalis. In a big first 15 minutes, the big fella.
Hold here.
And Kingston sends it onto the short side. Smith's pass came off Tigers' hands. So Parramatta start again. It's all going their way.
Hold, Bryce. Off Bryce.
Mortimer.
Hold one.
This is his 12th game.
Hold.
A start to first grade he's made. Now Larry into a flat-footed Hindmarsh. The Tigers defence waits for him to make his move. 20-metre line. Robson. Oh, the pass to the man of the line. And Parramatta put it down and let the Tigers off the hook.
Well, it's just too much pressure on Ben Smith then. The defence was there as Robson threw the footy. Very hard to pull that one in. Dummy on the inside, just waiting for him.
Yeah, Robson and Mortimer, their best work isn't passing into the line.
Benji might have even got a piece of Ben Smith before the ball arrived. That's how close that was.
Would have been a handy penalty. Parramatta would have extended their lead.
Wait for the go, mate.
So what can the Tigers do here? Clearly, they're on their heels.
Head in, Nate.
They've got no momentum. What can turn this around for them?
Yours, mate.
Dan, mate, their football is actually good, but it's always that extra pass they're trying to force, or not get to that kick at the end of the set. You know, the structure of their attack is good, but it's just that last little bit of polish that's letting them down.
You keep it in the middle here. Barely seen the other end of the field in this second half, which is now over 10 minutes old. And Peyton there with the play the ball. Left foot kick.
And that's a good play, Dan. Like when things aren't going great for you and you're struggling a little bit for momentum or a bit of traction, just play simple, put the ball in the corner and wait for your opportunity.
Now, can they force an error out of Parramatta?
Yours, mate.
Go.
There's growth.
Hold, John. Hold, go.
Rinu there getting up to play it. Now, here comes
Surrender!
Eric Growth. 10 tries this year. Spent some time at the Roosters before coming back to Parramatta. Now Kingston. Nice impact of the game he's made. Little tackle here. Parramatta discipline. Molson on the full.
All right, mate.
Yeah, I'm good.
He decides to give it here to
Jeff!
Go.
the man in number 14, John Morris.
Jeff!
So the Tigers, it's been a long time, it seems, since they scored those 2 tries in quick succession. There's another weapon for Parramatta, ready to come back into the game for the first time in 3 months. Marshall, Farah, the switch. Molson away briefly, ready all over him. And a little break there for the Tigers. It's play on, so they'll get to play this set out. Louis to the air. Coming down on the 10. Hayne safe.
Yours now, Arch.
Hayne away.
Look out.
Hayne the right foot step. Hayne herring down over halfway. What a start to the set. Now Parramatta up to the 20.
Oh, what a run from Jared Hayne. Plenty of tackles in this set. Gibbs not getting off the player and in the end penalised.
What when he's got the broken field, Brandy? Just beating players like they're witches' hats, just going around them, just effortless.
Robert Louis was the kicker and he chased his own kick there, but he just deceived Louis easily.
It's almost like he feels the defender in his radar and he beats him like he steps before that defender moves into his space.
Molson wasn't going to go with him, and it was actually Bryce Gibbs who made the tackle.
What a chase.
Yeah, Kristen Inu back towards the ruck and back in behind the ruck, and
Taking 2.
I think he's just exhausted. Bryce Gibbs,
Yeah.
after chasing Jared Hayne, I think he just wanted to rest.
The penalty, very kickable for Inu. He's got one from the sideline.
That's just that little bit of polish again, Dan. Like Tigers, mate, it's a good kick from Robert Louis, but it's a staggered chase. And Hayne, that's what he loves. He just tears those staggered defenders apart.
After the 5 weeks that he just had leading in this one,
Yeah.
I'm sure Tim Sheen spoke about your kick chase on Jared Hayne. You've got to be there as he catches the footy. You can't give him any room, and way too much latitude there.
Oh, they've taken the tap. They've ignored 2. They sense there may be a moment here. Oh, what a huge call. And Noel over the 10 is Moy. He almost gets there. Kingston fires it out to Mortimer. Smith puts it down again. Tigers let off the hook.
Yeah, I just don't know whether Daniel Mortimer was trying to throw it behind Ben Smith or not. If it was a pass to Ben Smith, it was a tough one to catch. That's a cheap turnover and an easy let off there for the Tigers.
easy to ask the question now and answer it, but that was a straightforward 2 points, wasn't it?
Well, it puts them 8 points in front. You'd think Chris Naninu would kick that.
Now quick hand sees Ashford with a bit of space. Then the inside pass to Farah. And now Farah goes one pass too many. Parramatta now throwing it about. Tigers, that'll be play on.
It's entertaining.
Well, Robbie Farah will be breathing a sigh of relief after throwing that ball straight to a Parramatta player. They've turned the ball immediately over back to the Tigers.
Tigers bunched here, and they've got plenty of tackles to come. A moment of madness from the Eels. And they just work it down the centre here. Gibbs. And there's Benji. There's Louis. There he is.
Oh, ball.
Then the wonderful pass to Lawrence. He almost broke through. Growth just hanging on. Molson on the last. Delayed pass to Marshall. The twinkle toes. Then the kick. Then the results. They'll set up and go again. This game has taken another turn.
Nice sequence from Marshall. And look, this is, like I said before, it's so entertaining. Lots of errors, bit of undisciplined play, but give me these sort of sides as opposed to a couple of robotic teams up against each other.
Geez, a good hole runner, Chris Lawrence, isn't he? Just hit that hole beautifully. Benji provided a great pass. Then the kick off the outside of the foot forces Growth to knock it dead. Well, if there's a side that can come up and hit back pretty quickly, it's the Tigers. The footwork from Marshall then was brilliant to get himself in a position to put that kick in.
Hope you're enjoying it. Fox League Classics Live. You're in neutral. Isn't this game just crying out for a Tigers try? You get us back level. Here's Danny Galea inside the 30. The Tigers are looking to charge it forward with these early tackles. As Payne plays it. Back it comes. Oh, that pass too hard for Marshall. Unfortunately, it went backwards to Ellis. Marshall first receiver. Dummies twice. Then nice takedown low by Galea. Ashford well handled. And Parramatta, no dramas in handling that set so far. Marshall chooses to pass it along. Farah, that's a nice pass. Lawrence the flick. Oh yes! Morris plunges over in the corner. But what about Chris Lawrence? Tigers hit back. This game just gets better and better.
Well, the kick from Benji Marshall to earn his side another set has paid dividends. The repeat set that the Eels just weren't up to, and they have gone the width of the field from the left touch line to from the right to the left touch line, but it still required the ball from Louis, Benji, out to Robbie Farah, across the face of Gareth Ellis. It still required Chris Lawrence to throw a great pass to create some space for Morris, and he did that. Although on the replay Morris looked in front of Chris Lawrence, the ball it was a flat pass. It was flat and it was allowed. I've got no problem with it. And Morris did a good job to drag that one in, but Chris Lawrence, some beautiful play from the centre.
And Brandy, isn't that the Tigers to a T? That set was sideline to sideline to sideline. 3 big shifts of the football. And gem of a pass from Robbie Farah onto Lawrence, and a really clever little flick pass onto Johnny Morris.
So versatile Morris coming in for the injured Taniela Tuiaki. Marshall looking for his first successful kick. No.
It was strange then. There was a bloke in the background with the Tigers jersey on saying, miss it. I mean, I was going to say that might be a 2009 thing, but I'm letting the cat out of the bag there.
Gamble responsibly, everyone. There's the official attendance, 34,272.
As I said, what a great stadium. If they ever knock that over, I'm just, I'll walk to Perth and back on my hands.
the Tigers back.
Make a good film clip, though, if it's a little rubble.
Where does your mind go?
Just thinking, mate. I've got imagination.
You're like a prophet.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? Getting Jimmy Barnes to do simply the best again. Just walking in the rubble.
Ridiculous.
I know.
There you are, Vince.
3 tries to 2. West's Tigers with that extra try, yet they're behind on the scoreboard. Galloway back into the game. Now Farah. Tigers fans think those markers weren't square. And Payne over halfway. Good set for West Tigers. After points. Farah with the kick. Oh, he's already put one out on the full, but that's pinpoint. And it takes Hayne out of the game.
A lot of influence from Farah in the last 10 minutes. They're a better side for it. As I said, in the first half, a real over-reliance on Benji. Pushing the ball sideways into Benji's hands, but when Farah's the focal point of the attack, their attack's a lot straighter. They go forward better, and Marshall gets the ball in his hands at the right time.
Well, poor Eric Graith, he's been beaten by a couple of great passes tonight, hasn't he? Deceived with the Benji Marshall flick in the first pass, and then Chris Lawrence gets him in the second, drags him in and just pushes it out the back for the John Morris try.
Yours, mate. Thanks, mate.
An intriguing contest enters its final 20 minutes.
Well, the winner goes a long way to securing a final spot. The loser in a battle. The Eels already not in the 8. They're sitting in 9th spot as this game is being played.
And they would, if they were to hold on here, overtake West's Tigers. Oh, Moy thought about offloading there, but Ellis all over him. Such an astute purchase, Gareth Ellis. There's the kick from just outside the 40. Now Molson. Again choosing not to run. Lives at the Bo Ryan. Molson copped a knock earlier in the game. I wonder if he's not quite 100% at the moment. Here he is now, distributing. There's a line ball pass to Galea, the former Panther. There's Galloway. Three of the big men collide. Well, Marshall to Ellis here.
Good stop from Freddie. Out of the line quick on Gareth Ellis to close him down.
Marshall, last tackle. Out to Morris. But this time, Growth comes up with a tremendous play. And again, the Tigers not afraid to throw it about on the last.
Well, the option to run on last play can be a good one, and it can catch teams short. Benji copped the shot after passing the ball.
A downward dog.
Not illegally, but I think it's winded him. And you don't mind that option being taken if something's on, but was there really a chance down that short side?
Is that a yoga move, Dan?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Tell what I'm into. Call it crazy. You heat the room up, right, and do yoga. It's this new thing called Bikram yoga. It's unbelievable.
Never take off. People get sick.
I just don't do yoga. They can heat the room up all they like.
Dominant, go!
Dominant!
Up
now!
Straight there, Keith.
Now, going nowhere here is Kalis.
Another thing out I've just got invested in is called Bitcoin. Have a look at it.
Running straight.
What?
Bitcoin.
Moy.
Here's Hayne. Down the middle. Beats off a defender. Now the pass here as the ball comes free. Well, Hayne is starting to tear them to shreds.
And a great offload there from Fui Moy. He was pushed across the field and he found Jared Hayne just straightening things up, and he burst in behind the Tigers' defensive line. It was Kevin Kingston back on the inside. I think he just had trouble holding up. Look, the ball and the Hayne and acceleration through that space. Kingston
What about how the hips just come under Hayne? He sprints like he takes off. Just great athlete.
A couple of imposing runs in the last few minutes. What a seesawing game. Galloway, brother Ellis running wide. Now it's Chris Lawrence with a bit of room to move. And Farah.
Not played at, not played at.
You heard it, not played at. It's going to be another change over near the centre of the field. These last tackle options, these last tackle failures are stinging the Wests Tigers.
Look, they did a good job just to get around halfway after the Eels break and Jared Hayne almost creating an opportunity for an Eels try. But again, they fail on the last play. That's 2 in a row now. Benji went short side and decided to run the ball. They go nowhere, and then the Farah kick was charged down. The Eels into Tiger territory.
Moy looks ready to pounce. And so are the Tigers. Gibbs rushing up down the low. Try a piece in this second half. Mateo, there's that offload. Now it comes here, and another terrific offload. Sees Mortimer get it on. Kalis, Mortimer. Oh, what hands. Hayne, strong.
Oh, wow.
Robson, yes! Robson bounces over. It's not just Hayne. They all have skill. Superb try.
Well, it's the night of the flick pass. We saw Benji Marshall in the first half. Chris Lawrence provided one in the second half. And we've seen 3 in that movement. Feletti Mateo, how he held the ball up long enough to find the second man, not the first man, the second support player.
Wow.
That is incredible. Kristen Inu hits and does a great job. Terrific strength to offload the ball as he's falling to ground. Round the corner there from that man. Then another flick pass. Kalis round the corner. Flick pass from Mortimer. A basketball push from Jared Hayne to Jeff Robson. That is an incredible team try from the Eels.
Well, Brandy, the last try from the Tigers, we said that was trademark Tigers. Sideline to sideline to sideline using width. Well, that's trademark Parramatta in 2009. Offloads, playing through, close support. Great try.
Well, you can understand why Daniel Anderson wanted to get Feletti Mateo on the field. But what he just provided then is just the sort of stuff that there's not many in the game can do. Held the ball up for his second support player.
Inu to make it an 8-point game. It'll be Parramatta's biggest lead. Remarkably, it's 3 tries all. But Inu through the middle. This is our great game at its best. 13 minutes remain.
An amazing try. 8-point lead now. Just watch it again. Here's Mateo. Dummy step, footwork. Kevin Kingston had players on him, so he dummied to Kingston and flicked it to Kristen Inu, who did a good job himself and great strength as he was falling. Kalis back on the inside round the corner. Mortimer flicks it round a couple of defenders, and then Hayne's strength to offload as he's standing there.
Well, the Tigers got the energy, the muster, a hit back. Strong defence from Ellis on Hindmarsh. He's had around 16 runs, Nathan Hindmarsh.
All quality too.
Yeah,
Smith.
And 40 tackles as well.
There he goes again, right on cue.
Ageless warrior. I tell you, but I'm telling you, I've just worked out, we're going to call it Fletch and Hindy.
Okay, you're right. Here it comes now. Well, Farah. Oh, he's thrown it forward. Parramatta will bring it back. You see the hands looking to settle things down. Don't do anything silly. Parramatta a 0 tackle set. They can almost put it away here. Mateo, flat-footed, but look at him go. That's off Tigers' hands, but the Tigers come up with it.
10.
Ashford. That's huge for West Tigers.
Well, neither of these teams mind taking risks. Doesn't matter what it is in the tackle count. First play, 0 tackle. If they think it's on, they'll take their chances. Todd Payton just trying to get on the outside and provide some support with room. Hyington through the middle.
Yeah, it's Galloway. 11 and a half minutes to go, and they need 2 scores. Here's Marshall. He comes out to Louis.
I can't remember the last time the Tigers were inside the Eels 20.
So Galea on the last. Molson. Now Farah. Oh, the up and under. And that's off Tigers' hands. Morris couldn't hang on to it. They're falling away here.
And in hindsight in this game, Tim Sheens, we're watching the tape, saying, if only we got our kicking game right, what we could have done. They've created so many chances, but just haven't had the polish in that last tackle. Barely. I mean, you're probably 2 or 3 decent kicks.
Yeah, if they've kicked the ball 10 times tonight, they've had 2 good ones.
Good start to the set defensively here, but they need to force an error. Try and get some field position. They're loading up in these tackles. But that's excellent work from Nullavau. Then it comes to Mortimer. Keeps it going to Lowry. Sends it on to Inu. Over halfway. Oh, an audacious kick. There was one Tiger. And he has saved it.
Brandy, how good is their football? Like, this hot run.
It's mesmerising. Daniel Mortimer starting things with the dummy, but Joe Nullavau the offload. They have kept the ball going. The offloads have killed the Tigers. Lowry involved and then Christian Inu down the set. It was only tackle 2. And Inu decided to put a chip back in field. Now the Tigers with a chance.
Oh, now Benji. Majestic footwork. Molson. Ready in hindmast there. A little spark for the Tigers. Now Farah. Oh, a magic pass. Ryan down the sideline. Ryan goes for it. He gets there. He shaped a pass. But did he get it down?
Well, surely he did. But the ball did bounce away when he put it down. It gave the impression that it might have been bounced. Let's have a look. This will give us a perfect view of it. Oh, he slammed. It was coming out. It was coming out, but he got his hand, still had his hand on the back of the football.
It's a try, surely. Oh, that doesn't look like a good angle, but the first angle, you would imagine this one would be sufficient evidence.
It was coming free, but he got it down.
Oh, jeez.
Did he?
Benefit of the doubt.
This will show us whether his hand was still on it or not.
Oh
boy,
well,
that was
maybe.
coming out.
I think there's a fair bit of doubt.
Well, so the initial impression you got was that he bounced the ball because it just ricocheted off the ground.
Oh.
Now,
it's one of these ones, the fingertip.
I think they'll give it benefit of the doubt. And
I think in the future they'll amend this rule to have more control.
That's something we need to think about, the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure it's already created some controversy, and I think they're going to say he's still got a fingertip on the ball, but he lost control. Would you agree that he'd lost control of the footy?
Yes. Even if they give this, the day will come where that won't be a try.
What lines used? What brains?
If you think
display.
I know.
It's a try. We got a contest.
That is definitely a 2009 try. That the benefit of the doubt.
Benefit should be in bold.
Yes.
But the contrast in styles again. We see Parramatta making breaks down the field through their offload football and close support, and the Tigers once again playing from sideline to sideline. That's one of the great things about this contrast, is that both sides like to play off the top of their heads and play instinctive, but they just do it in such a different way.
And a couple of times tonight, certainly in the Chris Lawrence flick where he provided the flick for John Morris, and then that one, it was Robbie Farah delivering the ball.
Yep.
So not playing in and around the ruck. He's standing 2 and 3 wide. Farah.
Marshall
Needs it.
got it! 2-point game!
So Farah a couple of times tonight has found himself on the edge of the ruck, and he's been the man that's provided the pass. It was his pass then to Bo Ryan, and Ryan did a great job to pull it in because it was a bullet pass from Farah. Here's Farah here, and gee, that's a good ball, and well pulled in from Bo Ryan. In the future, that won't be a try, but it is in 2009, and then Benji just curls this one in beautifully to make it a 2-point ball game.
Bo Ryan and Jared Hayne racing towards the try line. An amazing race.
What a finish we've got. What a finish, Dan.
Oh, what a couple of minutes for Ryan. Saves a try at one end, scores at the other. This contest deserves a grandstand finish. You just know there's another twist to come as well. Tigers with Louis. Byington. What are they going to do on the last here? Taken so many gambling options. Well, let's see if it gets to the last here. Oh, a huge call. That is a monumental call. A forward pass.
I thought it come backwards out of the hands.
Absolutely, it did. There was no problem with that. It might have given an impression that it was forward, but it was a 25-metre pass from Benji, and it floated forward. I'm with you, Matty. I thought it came out the back.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, yeah, but
that's gone back for sure.
Yeah, it's gone back. That camera was behind Benji, which made it look like it left his hands forward, but it didn't.
Oh,
that was good for mine.
That's as angry as you'll ever see Benji Marshall. Now Parramatta.
Heads in. Time back on. Out.
What will their plan be? They look to tuck it under the arm.
Well, he's had a good second half, Daniel Mortimer.
Do they go for the killer blow? Lowry on the 40. They even got the ability to tuck it under the arm, Parramatta. Kalis with the pass. Oh, almost an intercept. Payton racing up out of the line. A Parramatta showing signs of panic here. Kingston. Nullavow brought down. Robson, their last try scorer to Smith. The final play here for the Eels. Robson, the stab kick, got a little bit of heat on it. Sits up, now takes the bounce that Moulton so desperately craved. It's Danny Green, Parramatta tragic.
Gee, gets that kick right, Jeff Robson. That makes it very tough for the Tigers.
Do you reckon there'll ever be a rematch, Mundy and Green too?
I think their big fight at this ground 3 years ago in 2006, I think that satisfied everyone.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'd love to see it in Adelaide.
Never happened.
Probably not.
Adelaide. All right, here's Hyington. Five minutes to go. Here's Galloway over that halfway line. Benji. Into the middle here. Farah. Or Payton wanted to give it. He does to Moulton. This ball is not dead. It's hot potato. Now Ashford. He's thrown over the sideline. Luke Burt and Kristen Inu. Massive play.
Yeah, we've spoken plenty about the risks the Tigers are willing to take, and 2 points down, you can understand that. Just offloading, just trying to find something, some sort of hole in the Parramatta defence, and Inu and Burt did a great job to hold Ashford up. He was only 6 or 7 metres from the sideline. They drag him across. It could be a crucial moment in this game. 4 minutes left.
How many more chances will the Tigers get? Here's Growth. Good bustling run to start this set. Now Kingston. Terrific influence he's had on this game. But now Parramatta starting to tuck it under the arm.
Great run.
It's a terrific run from Nullarbor.
He's been really good, Joe Nullarbor.
That gets the Tigers backpedaling a little. Lowry. Sood on the 40. Hayne gets it at first receiver. Then the chip and chase. Oh, he regathers. Hayne goes for it. Yes! Hayne! Magnificence! Puts this game away. The chip, the chase, the recovery. Then he gets there and he's pumped up. What a moment.
Well, if there was any doubt about this game, he's just sealed it, Jared Hayne, with a brilliant piece of individual play. The skip to the outside, the chip, the regather, the speed. What a run he has had. 6 weeks in a row now, he has been the best player on the field. That is brilliant. It was billed as the Hayne versus Marshall game. The goose step to get around Robbie Farah. The chip all in one motion, just drops it on his foot the moment he beats Farah. Gets around Galloway. The bounce favours him. Moulton just tries to whack at the footy, and that's it. Hayne gets the Eels home in this one.
One of those things, Brandy. If you rush Jared in a situation like that, like you want to pressure him, but if you rush him, you force him to run. That's what you don't want to do. I ran into Jared Hayne's agent the other day, Wayne Beavers, who's a very popular man in rugby league circles. And I said, I'll tell you something, Beaver, and tell me to shut up. But I said, I reckon Jared should have a crack at the NFL, right? And he said, you're out of your mind. And I said, mate, I just want him to back himself and have a go, because I reckon he'll go okay.
I know it's a Friday night at the football stadium. How much have you had to drink before this game?
I've had quite a few.
You've had some
I'm just saying.
crazy ideas.
I think a lot of things you've said tonight, I don't think they'll happen.
Oh, not a chance.
Well,
My God, you've come out with a few. You never know. You might just get lucky with one of them.
Brandy, I'm going to rewind this to you in about 10, 11 years, and I'll stand by everything I said. The only one is they'll never knock over the Sydney Football Stadium. It's heritage listed.
Well, there's Tuiaki at leg bandage, and they're saying it's a broken ankle, Dan, which is horrible luck for Taniela.
Compound fracture, apparently. So
Have you ever seen a run of form like Jared Haynes in the last 6 weeks? Have we seen as an extended run as he has put on? Some blokes have been
Definitely
good.
No.
1 week, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
1 week off, but he has had 6 or 7 in a row where he's just been untouchable.
And such contrasting form, Brandy, for what we saw in the first month. In the first month, he was he lacked his football lacked energy, but just tonight, what really struck me about this amazing run is just how tough he's played, how he's persevered. Even when things weren't going his way and they were defending him quite well, he's just kept going. He's just stayed in the game.
it's as good a run as we've seen. He couldn't finish with a 40-20, could he? Oh,
I think he does.
you are kidding.
Wow.
Well, that's his second of the night.
Is there anything he can't do, Jared Hayne?
I can't believe the power he gets on his kicks. That's like a missile. Not much room there. The angle wasn't great. Punched it.
Maybe he can be an NFL kicker, because you wouldn't want him as a catcher.
That's the only thing. You might find he's stuck between a few positions. I'd give him a crack at kick return. Tell you, look, and I don't know where this is coming from, but he looked good in 49ers jersey.
Ready for a field goal here.
All right.
6 in a row this makes it for the Eels. It's been an incredible run. And is this the end of the Tigers? The Eels will now jump the Tigers.
Gotta have it.
Tigers, yep. 11 and 11 for their wonderful play. They could be out of the 8 by the end of this weekend. The last play of the game. Hayne, how appropriate that he has his hands on it. A night that will endure for years. It has lived up to the hype. Spectacular skill on display in front of nearly 35,000 at the football stadium. Devastation for the Tigers. Gareth Ellis, they can't afford him to be hurt. Parramatta, they march on. 6 in a row.
Gee, was good that man, Joe Nullivout. Outstanding when he came onto the field. The go forward he provided.
Foot speed and footwork.
Jarryd Hayne. Just how much longer can he keep this form going? Can he take Parramatta all the way to the grand final? He just seems an unstoppable force.
And here's the highlights from the second half. Jarryd Hayne, after a bust and a midfield play, he went wide with a 25-metre pass to Krishnan Inu. Fantastic.
This one here, staggered kick chase, he just takes it apart. And the thing that's impressed me most about Jarryd Hayne in this performance is his perseverance, because in the first half they defended him well. A lot of things didn't go his way, but he just stuck to it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What an individual effort this was. There's something special there.
That's when your confidence is high, the ball bounces for you.
Yeah, when you're running as hot as he is, things do fall your way. And just the footwork there to get around Farah, get himself past the defence, get the bounce of the ball, beat Moulton. That's quite a second half. You're right, Matty. It was his first half where he was kept relatively quiet, but there was signs that jumping into first receiver, any half chance they had, he was there at first receiver to try and take advantage of it. But
Randy, the fitness levels, something he's not renowned for, but his fitness levels, to be able to stay in the game and give himself these opportunities.
So Jarryd Hayne, you can't take the smile off his face. Even he's impressed with himself. And why not? What a performance, 26 points to 18. It's not often Benji Marshall can have the sort of game he did where he flicks a ball around his back and yet he's overshadowed. Such was the performance of Jarryd Hayne. Let's have a listen to what Daniel Anderson, the Parramatta coach, had to say after the game.
Our aim is to win next week. You know, we've never been in the 8 for about 5 months. So, you know, at the end of this weekend, we will be in it. So our aim is to, well, I'm pretty sure we'll be in it, you know. So our aim is to now control our own destiny.
He seems to have got the balance right, hasn't he, Anderson? Letting them be exuberant, but they're playing with such confidence.
Well, they are, and it's not just Jarryd Hayne. You don't have a run of 6 wins just on the back of a player. He's done most of the special things that have seen the Eels go on this winning run, but it's the support play around him that's been good too. We spoke about Nullivout. Fui's been powerful over the month and a half. Daniel Mortimer, I thought, had a great second half. Some of his offloads. They've got some talent out wide with Krishnan Inu. So it's a good mix at the moment, and it's all falling into place.
But Hayne's the halfback, which, watching that game, it's quite amazing. Because we're talking about people like Slater, okay? But Slater, you know, he's got Cronk and he's got different guys there. And Robson's a competent ball player, and he's in his career best form. Daniel Mortimer is a runner of the football. Hayne is the halfback. That's what surprised me on this run, is his willingness to play first receiver, and he's not an organising halfback. So basically, they just roll down the field, and once he feels the momentum kicks in, he gets that long pass at first receiver. Away he goes.
He's not playing like a fullback.
No.
He's there for the kick returns.
Yep.
But Matty, anything good that he is doing is at first receiver. He's not making plays on the edges. He's not coming. There's no second man plays for Jarryd Hayne out the back of his centre or his 5'8". It's all happening around the ruck. So whenever there is any sort of momentum, it's Hayne getting the ball first up.
And 240-20s.
240-20s.
Almost 3.
What a hot streak. Benji Marshall also on a hot run of his own. He had that moment of magic in the first half. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Oh, it's just one of those things, mate. You don't think about when you do it. You just, you practice it so much as a kid and growing up, and Yeah, I really don't know why I done it, but thank God it came off. It could have went the other way and went into touch, but yeah, it's just one of those things that came off, and luckily for me.
Could he have thrown that conventionally?
I don't know if he had the time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because Growth was coming in. Growth wasn't sure. He was second guessing himself. He knew he left his winger unmarked. But you know, it made it. But the fact that it was a standing start because Reddy grabbed him and almost pulled him backwards. As good as the flick pass, I thought was the play that beat Jeff Robson. You know, just the show it to Chris Lawrence just completely bamboozled Jeff Robson. I don't know I don't know in the way he had his body whether a regulation pass would have worked because Growth might have been in between him and his winger Blake Ashford.
Yeah, Brandy, no side moves the football better than the Tigers, and tonight some of their ball movement, as I said, you know, from side to side was outstanding and always worried Parramatta. But for the Tigers, it's getting the transition right from attacking football where you're going full tilt to then someone getting their head on and putting the right kick on at the end of the set, putting the ball where it needs to go.
And another classic. Tomorrow, 3 p.m, Manly versus Newcastle. Last Sunday, we had possibly the greatest grand final of them all. Tell you what, this one stacks up pretty well against it. Manly versus Newcastle. That is coming up tomorrow. Fox League Classics Live. So I hope your predictions come true, Matt. I fear
you made some.
I fear you're going to embarrass yourself, but I mean,
I know.
You threw some out there.
You've got a good reputation there. I'd hate to see you, lose it.
Like, as I've said before, there's some certain things that stuck out for me. Like, Nathan Highmarsh's workhorse, worked his backside, and he was really good.
What makes you think he might be funny down the track?
I just see somewhere, I just see a funny bone. But, I see him as a second banana. He needs someone alongside him to bring that out. And as I don't know why I'm thinking, but there's a bloke at the Roosters by the name of Brian Fletcher, or at this stage he might be at Wigan, but he was at the Roosters, and I just think those two as a comedy duo, they could be like Laurel and Hardy.
There was a couple of other things you tossed out there too, but it were left field, but you never know.
Well, I just think... Bitcoin.
What the hell is that?
It's things you basically... It's a form of currency over the black market, and, I've just invested a little bit in it.
I think a lot of people... some of that stuff's all right, but Jared Hayne playing NFL plays...
I know.
What about...
Probably right. I just wanted to back himself.
Hot yoga.
Yeah, I know.
Fox League Classics Live. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy tomorrow, the 97 Grand Final. Football Stadium knockdown.
Has been a Fox Sports production.